I remember opening my laptop, like the morning after I decided to focus on uni, opening up like a past paper to do it, reading the first question, and being like, screw this. I think it was April maybe, April 2020 this would have been. I think I pulled in 24 grand profit because you guessed it, this interview is all about me. If you want a job done right, do it yourself. That is the lesson to this podcast episode. I was meant to have a guest on yesterday. They bailed last minute. I was meant to have a guest on today. They bailed last minute. And what is the lesson of this podcast? If you want a job done right, do it yourself. So I will subsume both roles of the podcast, interviewer and interviewee, for this very special episode. Because you guessed it, this interview is all about me. I think we're going to have a special guest on in about 10 minutes, is it, Connor?
Give or take, yeah.
Yeah. It's got a bit of work to finish up, then we'll get into it. It's also a very special episode for me. You are now seeing me at my lowest point. I will be getting tanked by myself on White Russians. Because Connor is not joining me for White Russians either. Everyone's let me down today. Apart from me. I haven't let myself down. Yeah, I've been super addicted to the White Russians for like 6 weeks now. So I'm committing to no more caffeine, basically, for the rest of my life after tonight. So I figured the solution to it is just to stop drinking caffeine, because it's not just White Russians, it's like espresso martinis and shit. When I used to have a job in the city in London, they had free caffeine. Well, not free caffeine, free coffee, free tea. And I never used to drink caffeine. And I went from like not ever having it to 5 cups a day within a span of like a week. And I was so ill all the time. I just have massive headaches. I feel faint, dizzy, like I was going to pass out, all this mad shit. And I just wouldn't stop drinking the coffee. So I quit cold turkey back then. Then like 6 weeks ago I had a White Russian and it's got caffeine in it. And since then it's just been White Russians all day. When I say I'm going to do something, I fucking do it. I'm going to get tanked on White Russians tonight. And then I'll never have them again. I'll never have any caffeine again. So I'm quite excited actually, because I don't even enjoy it at this point. They're just fucking annoying. So yeah, it'll be funny to see me get tanked by myself. It's not going to be funny, it's going to be sad and pathetic. So anyway, like I was saying, I will subsume both roles of interviewee and interviewer. So yeah, that's basically it. And I think the most interesting thing about me probably is the business I've built. Is there anything more interesting than that I've done with my life? Probably not. Yeah, I built the business. I did it all while I was at uni, studying maths, and I also did it all with a kid. I feel like most people struggle with one of those things, kids, uni, or starting a business. I did do all three at the same time. Cheers to that. Okay, let's jump in. Father Ecom, it's great to have you on the podcast. You are a true inspiration to us all. I mean, yeah, first thing I want to ask you, mate, is how did it all start? How did you start the business? Father Ecom, that is an excellent question. You are so smart and full of unbound wisdom and knowledge, and I'm going to tell you exactly how I started it. How did I start it, actually? So I think, like most people, by nature, I'm pretty lazy, and I find it hard to work hard. Like, I never really tried hard in school much. Did you? Probably not. I don't know that many people that tried hard in school. But anyway, yeah, I was lazy at school, really lazy. I guess I was kind of lucky because I was fairly naturally bright. Like I would get decent grades without really trying. So it didn't mess me up too bad. But yeah, I never knew how to work ever until I'd say I was 23 when I decided to start my business. I don't know what the best way to tell this story is of how I started the business. So I've got a video on my YouTube channel about, I think it's probably the most important thing you can do with your life if you want to hit your goals or whatever. Or if you don't have any goals, how to get to a place where you can even work out what you want, because setting a goal is actually really hard. And it's basically take care of your body. Human beings are just, everyone just funnels so much shit in their body 24/7, whether it's like caffeine, which is in here, alcohol, which is in here, processed sugar, which is in here. I'm the prime example, I'm doing it right now. So halfway through an internship I was doing in London, I was doing data analysis for Sainsbury's. I've always kind of been into self-improvement, maybe since I was like I used to go gym when I was 16. I tried meditating when I was 18, but I was really bad at it, and I'd go on and off. But I think those small efforts eventually compounded, and I got to the point where I was halfway through my placement year, which I hated, to be honest. Where, yeah, I'd stopped eating processed sugar, cut down on drinking loads. My sleeping was like immaculate. I was getting to bed at 10 PM every night, waking up at like clock. I didn't even set an alarm. I was just waking up at clockwork at like 5:30, 6, feeling good. And then I think the catalyst was I had like a, maybe you'd call it like a mentor at Sainsbury's. Someone like on my team who was older, more experienced, really, really cool guy actually. Shout out to Sarge, really cool guy. Very charismatic. Everyone loved him. Yeah, he took me into a room one day during one of our like mentorship sessions, and he was like, "Deniz, I really like you. I think you're smart, but you've got a lot of potential, but you're not reaching it." Like you were saying, yeah, if you put the work in, I think you could do great things. You're really naturally smart. You just don't try hard. And the amount of people that had said that to me my whole life. Like that's what basically all the adults in my life used to tell me. You've got potential, but you're wasting it. Which I think is true of anyone, really. I think anyone can do anything. So, yeah, and that just, for some reason, that time, and I think it's because I compounded all this other stuff. Like at the time I was sleeping well, my diet was really good. And he said that to me and just, something flipped in my brain. I don't know what it was, man. It ignited some mad spark in me. Like I can't explain it. It was something I'd never experience again. It's probably something most people never experience, but like I left that room literally on fire. Like I had so much adrenaline pumping through me and just like shivers. I don't know what it was. He just said that to me that one time and I was like, fuck it. No more. No more will I not be reaching my potential. And yeah, I don't know, I can't explain that feeling of like self-assuredness I had when I left that room. I just knew I would do whatever it takes to find success. And I didn't even know what success was at that time. So, yeah, so that's not when I started my business. So at first, I mean, I looked around at the people, I looked around the environment I was in, and my first thought was like, okay, success is being promoted, becoming the manager, becoming the manager's manager, blah, 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 blah. So for like 2 weeks, I just put my head down and I worked so fucking hard in the office. And I was just smashing out all my work for like 2 weeks. Then I was going home reading books about investment for like 4 hours a day. I'd come home from work, smash it out all day, read books on investing all night, like trying to learn how to make money. I was thinking, okay, if I just work really hard at my job, I'll keep getting promoted, I'll make money, I can just put the money away, learn to invest it, and that's how I'm gonna get rich and find success. Well, I did that for 2 weeks, man, and I looked at my fucking manager. How much is he making? 40? His manager, 50? And you can't do anything with that kind of money. It's not. And they work their fucking arse off all day. So after about 2 weeks, I had the realization, like, oh, this isn't how you get rich. You don't get rich from working really hard at your job. At least not quickly. And at least not in a way that's satisfying or fulfilling, I don't think, unless you're crazy about data analysis. I don't know how many people are, but So yeah. So that was when I was like, I was also doing a few other things. I was with one of the other interns. We'd stay behind after work every day, and like I was trying to learn how to code games. So I figured maybe make a cool app. Maybe that's how you get rich. And I was doing one other side thing. I forgot what it was. But at that point, I realized, okay, I need a business. I need a business. There's a book called Bullshit Jobs by Ben Graham or something. Graham spelled like Graeme. And it's about how fucking pointless a lot of these London office jobs are, and they really are quite pointless. Huh?
What do you mean by pointless?
You're just not doing anything.
You're just putting shit in a pipe and it's getting sent somewhere.
As in, so for like data, we're just making 90% of what we were doing was just making assumptions about the data and just guessing what the fuck we were doing. I can't explain it. It was.
But why do, so Sainsbury's is like $1 billion company?
Probably multi. It's on the FTSE 100.
Yeah, so if they're making all that money, why is it pointless for them to have such a huge, I mean obviously the bulk of the staff is just people stacking shelves. Why do they have people doing that in offices in London if it's not making them money?
Okay, I guess we were making a positive ROI, but just the amount of just human...
What's ROI?
ROI, return on investment.
Okay.
But the amount of just like... I'm not even going to say it.
Bullshit.
The amount of bullshit that goes into any job, and obviously like you want to impress your fucking manager, so... If you're making a report that you're showing to your manager about the work you've done, you want to show it in the best light possible. And then your manager's going to show it to their manager in the best light possible. And then just by the time this fucking information moves up, it's just all bullshit. It's just...
Yeah. So the people at the top don't really care.
I wouldn't say they don't care.
Or it's like who thinks it's, why is it bullshit? Like to the people, because you said like it just gets filtered through many people, middle management, upper management.
Yeah, there's loads of red tape, loads of admin.
Yeah.
Most of the jobs you're given aren't going to really fucking do anything.
Right.
You're just doing pointless stuff.
Are people aware of that and they do it anyway?
Are people aware that it's all pointless? Probably not.
Do you think, I feel like people are on some level, but they can't articulate it, and they just say, oh, I'm depressed and I don't enjoy my job, and it probably, on some level, they know it's
I don't think most
bullshit.
people admit that they don't like their job.
Yeah.
It took me a long time to admit I didn't like my job, because if you admit that you don't like your job, it's actually quite terrifying, because that's what you've been doing for the past 10 years of your life.
Yeah.
And to admit that it's all been a waste of time is very, very painful. Well, it took me a while. I was kind of telling myself I liked my job, but I really fucking didn't. And then when I started the business, like the first time as I started reading that book, Bullshit Jobs.
Yeah.
At first, I was defensive in my brain. I was like, nah, this book isn't real. I'm doing really productive stuff at Sainsbury's. I was thinking in my head, this book's not fucking real. Nah, it's all bullshit. And then halfway through the book, I just realised, oh shit, I'm getting defensive over a book. Clearly, I do agree with what it's talking about. And that's when I decided to start my business. Does that make sense? I got defensive while reading the book. Which, if you're getting defensive, then you're hitting an insecurity.
Yeah.
So yeah, then I decided to start the business. And what was funny, I literally went from like pretty much a slacker, but I got my job done at work, but not that well. I was a bit of a slacker. To being literally the best employee there for like 2 weeks. I just busted ass. And to then deciding I wanted to start a business, and then went to literally the worst employee. So after that, I just spent all day in the library watching YouTube videos about e-commerce. It's so funny to just go from slacker, best worker ever, immediately back to slacker one day. So funny. And one of my colleagues commented on it. He was like, what the fuck are you doing, mate? What's going on with you? So funny. And yeah, I mean, that's how it started. I think it was a combination of compounding slow compounding self-improvement that maybe went from 18 till 23. So maybe it took me 5 years to get to that point. And then the catalyst was my mentor just calling me a piece of shit and saying, sort it out.
Yeah.
He said it in a very nice way, but that's what he meant.
Did he encourage you to start your own business?
No, not in the slightest. No, he told me I've got potential that I'd
Okay.
need to reach. And yeah, that was it. Have you finished the printing? Are you joining the podcast?
I'll be back in 5 minutes.
Oh shit, you're not on screen. Are you going? Alright, 5 minutes. And yeah, that's the story of how I started my business. Then I just literally Googled how to start an online business. A bunch of things came up: SMMA, copywriting, software. And one of them was drop shipping. So I chose that. It just seemed the coolest, run your own brand. Because the way you start e-commerce, which I'd recommend to anyone that has no business experience, is there's a website called AliExpress, and it's basically the Amazon of China. And you can make e-commerce stores really easy now. Literally like an hour, you can have one set up, probably less. If you don't know what you're doing, maybe it's going to take you 3 hours. And yeah, so you just throw up a website, put some crap from AliExpress on there, and it is crap, and then just try and work out how to market products online. And obviously, like, the junk from China is cheap, and it takes like 3 weeks to get to your customer, because what you're doing is you're shipping straight from China to the customer, and it's taking like 3 weeks. It's a terrible business model. It's an awful business model, but it's such a great and easy way to learn how to do online marketing, obviously, because you don't need to worry about sourcing the product or storing it or shipping it yourself. You just send it right from China straight to the customer. Like, you don't even touch the product. So it's just such a good way to learn digital marketing. Such a good way. So that's what I started doing. I tried to sell posture correctors. That didn't work, because obviously I had no idea what I was doing. I tried to start a general store. I found some like waterproof tops where if you spill something on it, it just slides right off. That didn't work, so I didn't know what I was doing. I tried picture frames, hamsters that copy everything you're saying. You might have seen some of this shit around. I'm sure you might have seen the posture correctors, because they were big in like 2019 when I started. I tried so much different stuff. And then, yeah, around October, November, I just found this random cute little nightlight that looked like an aquarium. It had like little toy fish in. It was like a glass bowl, and it had like a neon light, and you put like little fish in. It was cute. It was very cute. And yeah, eventually that just worked. I just threw it in, stole it straight off AliExpress. So I started maybe February 2019. Yeah, February 2019. And so in November 2019, I think I made $9,000 profit in November selling those nightlights. And then that was just because of Christmas. So November, December I made money. Then after December, it stopped selling at a profit, because it was just Christmas. It's like the Christmas rush. Then I did some more shit. That stopped working, which was depressing. But I was like, fuck, I made $9,000 in a month. I didn't know anyone at the time who could make $9,000 in a month. That's mad. So obviously I just doubled down on it. Was uni suffering? My placement year suffered. I did not get offered a place back, believe it or not. I was shocked by that. How could they not offer me a place back? And yeah, uni was suffering as well. No. Uni wasn't suffering. I was doing alright at uni. I was doing maths at Brunel at the time. And I really wanted to drop out of uni, but seeing I was on my 3rd year, I wanted to just drop out and focus on e-commerce. But seeing I was on my 3rd year, I might as well finish the degree, which was probably a mistake because I'm not using my degree. I don't think I ever will need to get a job. ever. I think I spent like 100 grand on my degree. Well, I owe 100 grand in uni fees, which I'm never paying back. So yeah, that's how I started the business. And then what happened next? What happened next? Oh yeah. The Safe First health monitors. This was like probably the luckiest and also unluckiest part of my business journey. I found these, what they're called, pulse oximeters. It's a little thing you put on your finger and it reads your pulse and your blood oxygen level. It's not that remarkable piece of technology, but I figured if I found one that was targeted at kids, like it had bright, colourful patterns on. I was like, fuck it, I'm going to try and market this as a health product for kids. Try and prey on some, what are they called, mitochondriacs, people that get way too scared about illness and disease. So yeah, I was selling this kind of like shammy health product. Really, it was a bit of a sham. But just as I started marketing it, something happened in China. Can you guess what it was? The first case of COVID-19 was found or discovered just as I was setting up this health monitor. Then it started spreading and then to the UK. So as I remember quite well, as like uni was shutting down because the UK lockdown was kicking off, I was just selling these things by the boatload, bro. Boatload. So like 100 units a day, like 6 return on ad spend, which is, for e-commerce, you don't really get a 6 return on ad spend. It's so good. But I kind of had a bad feeling because I was selling 100 of these units a day, and I had an agent in China who I spoke to. They were sourcing the products for me and like shipping them to the customers. And I kept asking them, China's in lockdown, are you sure you're getting this stuff out? Is it fine? Is it all going well? She kept saying, yeah, it's all good. Don't worry about it, don't worry about it. Nah, bruv, chatting bare lies, bruv. I knew she was fucking lying. So I turned off the ads, and then like a week later, they messaged me like, we haven't actually been able to get anything out of China. So I'd sold like, I don't know how many of these things. I sold a lot of them. I think it was like 15 grand's worth of them, maybe. Which isn't that much now, to be fair. At the time, that was a decent amount for me. And I couldn't get them to my customers. I couldn't source them, couldn't get them. So that was annoying. And to be honest, at the time, I should have just emailed all the customers and said that we're really sorry, lockdown, we can't get it to you. We're working as hard as we can. Just be a bit more patient and we'll get them to you. But instead of doing that, I just refunded everyone. 15 grand. Poof. Gone. So that was really annoying. Did I make the right decision? I don't know. 15 grand for me. 25, 30 quid for someone else. The person that ordered it. And I would have gotten the stuff anyway. It just would have taken like 6 months. In retrospect, I should have just kept the money and been like, we're trying our best to get it to you. And for any customers that were like really demanding it, should have refunded them. But it doesn't really matter. 15 grand now. In the grand scheme of things, it's only money. Who really cares? There's more to life than money. So yeah, that's my e-commerce career. Well, no, it's not. I haven't even talked about my current brand. I'll keep the story going. Do you have any questions about any of this? No, Father Ecom, this is enthralling. Please carry on with this amazing story of how you started your business. Oh, absolutely, mate. Can I just say how fucking muscular you're looking as well? You look good, man. So yeah, so then what happened? So that all messed up. I lost the 15 grand. when was this? Final year, uni exams were coming up. I'd moved back to my mum's house because uni was on shutdown. All the exams were done online. And I remember seeing it as like a sign, like, oh, this is a sign. I can't get anything out of China. Like, I can't source any products. I can't work on my business, right? And I've got my final year exams coming up now. It's a sign that I should focus on uni. I remember opening my laptop, like the morning after I decided to focus on uni, opening up like a past paper to do it, reading the first question, and being like, screw this. What a waste of time. So then I just immediately started thinking about something I could sell, something I could source during lockdown. One of the best decisions I've ever made. I just didn't want to do the maths, man. I didn't want to sit there and do maths. There's more important things to do than an exam. What a waste of time. There's bigger things going on than a maths exam. So yeah, I didn't really provide. All of my friends on my course for final year, they smashed their final year exams because obviously I did worse in my final year exams. I did no revision, basically whatsoever, like nothing. I was just working on my business. I didn't care about the exams. I still got a 2-1 overall, but I did really well second year. I did really well in my placement year. I did well in my dissertation, but my final year exams were by far the worst. I probably could have got first if, well, I mean, obviously I could have got first if I wanted. Anyone could get first if they want to. But yeah, so I was just focusing on the business. And yeah, one thing I've learned I could source, well, I can source something if there's a UK supplier, because that's not getting anything out of China, right? So there's a thing called POD. You can do POD, it stands for print on demand. That's stuff like you can put a design on like a t-shirt or like a poster or a canvas. And you can easily find suppliers in the UK who'll do that for you and ship it to the customer. So I was like, okay, that's what I'm doing, POD. I can source stuff in the UK, still drop shipping, so I'm not touching the product myself. And I'll just focus on the marketing part. So yeah, that's when I started testing different POD stuff. And then I was selling just these personalized posters. Customer would put in the names of all their family and we'd turn them into like robins and do like a cute name underneath. And that just exploded straight away. I was still fairly new to business at the time. I thought it exploded because I was a genius. It actually exploded because so many businesses were shut down during lockdown and like people couldn't really run their businesses, especially at the start of lockdown. The CPMs on Facebook were so cheap. Any idiot could have made fat stacks on Facebook at the time. If I was smart enough to realize that, I would have rinsed it so much harder than I did. I didn't make nearly as much money as I could have. Yeah, usually, so CPM is like the cost to show your ad to 1,000 people. On Facebook, usually, yeah, I'm paying like £6 CPMs at the moment, so it cost me £6 to show my ad to 1,000 people on Facebook. At the time, it was literally like a tenth of that. I was paying like 80p to show my ad to 1,000 people. It's so easy to make money on an 80p CPM. You could sell trash, but if it costs 80p to show your ad to 1,000 people, you can get like 0.2% of the people clicking on your ad and like a 0.5% conversion rate, and you're in profit. It's nuts. So I didn't notice that at the time. So I was just selling all this random shit and just making money with it because it was so cheap to advertise. So I think it was April 2020, this would have been. I think I pulled in 24 grand profit just selling random crap. The May was like 14 grand, and then it kind of went back to normal after that, the CPMs. So the month after that, I didn't make that much. But I saw the potential, and that's when I got into what I'm doing now, where we do like custom portraits. They were a bit crappy when I started, but I put like loads of work into finding good artists. There's a bunch of little tricks we can do with the images to make the quality better. We package it really nicely. Like I bought production in-house now, so this room is just for the printers, where we make all the product. The packaging is really good. The quality is really good. Our customer service is really good. It took a long time, but I've turned it into like a good business. We sell custom portraits, so customers send in a photo, we will turn it into like a piece of art and ship it off, print it here, ship it off to them. It's a nice little business. And I think there's a lot more that goes into it than I realise, because sometimes I feel like just some idiot that doesn't really know anything about e-commerce or know what he's doing, but I must know what I'm doing. I must do. It's working. Making money's hard. I'm actually making money with a business. Pretty mind-blowing, actually. So, yeah, I don't know what questions to ask myself. Usually I find interviewing people easy because I'm a genuinely very curious person, and I do love learning about people and finding out, especially if they've got a business, like anything about their business I love. But I already know everything about my business, so I don't know what questions are interesting or what to ask. But I've given you the history of it. What's next in store for me? Right now I'm doing an intensive program, an expensive one. We're going to take my Shopify store to 6 figures a month. The goal is to do it within 3 months. After that, I don't know what I'll do. Maybe try and sell the brand, sell the business, make an exit, and then focus on. I've kind of got a small side thing going on already. Like a brand. I want to sell art that I would actually hang in my own home, because this kind of stuff, I'm not selling it because I'm passionate about it. I'm selling it because people love it, but not me, people. But it's not something I would hang in my own home personally. Loads of people say, oh, if you want to start a business, you have to do it, something you're passionate about. You've got to find the passion or you're not going to work. Cap. Bullshit. You can be passionate about making money. You can be passionate about money and sell the most boring shit on earth. Someone made money selling pet rocks. So that's a load of bullshit. First, I would focus on the money first. I think it's going to be easier to make money if you focus on the money rather than your passion. Then when you've got the money and the business experience, then it'll be probably a lot easier to turn your passion into a business if you've got business experience and you've got money. So, yeah, I've got a couple things in the works. I'm getting some art made, which I think is really cool. I think the art's really cool. So I'm going to make a brand I'm actually really passionate about. And yeah, that's it.